Lessons from the life of Jacob. Jacob, one of the patriarchs of Israel, lived a life filled with complex relationships, divine encounters, struggles, and ultimately, spiritual transformation. His journey, marked by both failures and triumphs, offers many lessons for believers today. Here, we will explore some of these key lessons from Jacob's life and include relevant Bible verses to illuminate these insights. The consequences of deception. Jacob's life began with tension and deceit. From birth, he grasped the heel of his twin brother Esau, signaling his nature as a supplanter. Genesis chapter 25 verse 26. Later, this tendency would manifest in more deliberate actions. Jacob deceived his father Isaac to steal Esau's blessing. Genesis chapter 2 verse 18 to 29, which led to significant consequences, including his estrangement from his family and the wrath of Esau. While Jacob succeeded in his deceit, the fallout reminds us that deception, even when it achieves temporary gain, results in painful consequences. Jacob's separation from his family, fear of retribution, and a lifetime of tension with Esau teach us that dishonest methods are ultimately destructive. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. God's grace despite our failures, despite Jacob's manipulative behavior, God did not abandon him. Instead, God revealed himself to Jacob in a dream at Bethel, reaffirming the covenant he had made with Abraham and Isaac. Genesis chapter 28 verse 12 to 15. This encounter showed that God's promises do not depend solely on human behavior. Jacob had acted poorly, but God's grace was still extended toward him. This lesson emphasizes that God's grace is greater than our failures. While Jacob's actions were flawed, God had a bigger plan for him, and he was faithful to fulfill his promises. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2nd Book of Corinthians 12 verse 9. The importance of perseverance and hard work. After fleeing from Esau, Jacob worked for his uncle Laban for 20 years. During this time, Jacob faced trickery from Laban, who deceived him into marrying Leah instead of Rachel, and constantly changed his wages. Genesis chapter 29 verse 31. However, Jacob's perseverance and hard work paid off, as God blessed him with wealth and many children. Jacob's story teaches us the importance of diligence and endurance, even when circumstances seem unfair. His persistence and trust in God resulted in great blessings, both materially and relationally. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9. Transformation through struggle. One of the most profound moments in Jacob's life occurred when he wrestled with an angel all night long. Genesis chapter 32 verse 24 to 30. This physical struggle symbolized Jacob's internal battle, a fight for identity, blessing, and redemption. In the end, Jacob was renamed Israel, meaning one who struggles with God, signifying his spiritual transformation. This lesson reminds us that struggles, both internal and external, are often the pathway to spiritual growth. Jacob's transformation came through wrestling, both with his past and with God's will for his life. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Romans chapter 5 verse 3 and 4. Reconciliation and forgiveness. Jacob's eventual reconciliation with Esau is a powerful lesson in forgiveness. After years of separation and fear of retribution, Jacob returned to face his brother. However, instead of hostility, Esau greeted Jacob with open arms and forgiveness. Genesis chapter 33 verse 4. This act of reconciliation healed their broken relationship and showed the power of forgiveness in overcoming past wrongs. Forgiveness is essential in mending relationships and moving forward in peace. Jacob's humility in bowing before Esau and Esau's graciousness in forgiving him is a model for how we should seek reconciliation in our relationships. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 32. God's sovereignty and faithfulness. Throughout Jacob's life, God's hand was evident. From the dream at Bethel to the wrestling match at Peniel, to the ultimate fulfillment of his promises, God remained faithful to Jacob. Despite Jacob's shortcomings and the challenges he faced, God orchestrated events for his greater purpose. Jacob's story is a testament to God's sovereignty. Even when we falter, God's plans are steadfast, and his promises remain sure. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Psalms chapter 33 verse 11. Jacob's life is rich with lessons for us today. His story demonstrates the consequences of deception, the grace of God despite our failures, the importance of hard work and perseverance, the value of struggle in spiritual growth, the power of forgiveness, and God's unshakable faithfulness. Jacob's transformation from a deceiver to a patriarch is a reminder that, no matter how flawed we are, God can use us for his divine purposes. As we reflect on Jacob's journey, we are reminded that God is always at work in our lives, even through our mistakes, struggles, and victories.